The real threat to our security isn't necessarily what others do in the shadows, but it's what one's own government hides from the light. And that's the essence of what we're trying to get to in the motion in front of us, to ask the government to publish the papers. And if I take a step back from this to look at the public and the way in which they'll perceive this, this is the biggest spy story and incident in this country's history, in this century at least. And we've then get into the tit-for-tat about what the PM did know or didn't know, and what the National Security Advisor doesn't speak to his deputy, does speak to his deputy, who told the Deputy Security National Advisor that he needs to toe the government line. We also see the Labour manifesto going in some of the witness statements. But I want to concentrate more on the bigger picture, and actually, as the member for Chingford and Woodford Green rightly pointed out, the behaviour here of the government. Yeah. Because the Prime Minister could have sorted this out and come to the House and spoken on this topic, laid it all out, put it all forward. The only thing we've closely had is actually a statement before PMQs. Of course, us backbenchers can't ask those questions. There is no way to deal with that. So further still, if the government is so angry, why isn't more action being taken? Why aren't people being fired, if that's the case? And why are we still having this debate several weeks on if all the information is so crystal clear that this House could move on? And I'm worried this is actually a pattern of behaviour from the Prime Minister, because we saw this with the Ambassador. He was the decision maker with the Ambassador, and he did not come to this House. He sent one of his ministers. Yet he is the one who makes those decisions. And why it saddens me so much, because I expect the retort from the other side would be, well, this is always thus, is the Prime Minister is being judged by his own standard that he set, that he said he would do things different. And yet he isn't. He isn't coming to the House to explain this when he could have done. We know the information and the decisions will be with him. And when I pushed the Minister last time about leadership, that wasn't directed at him. I have a great deal of respect for him. He is following the leadership of the Prime Minister, who has not come to this House to explain what is going on. Because if it is so clear-cut as the opposition have said, that would be an easy case to make in this House, and this House would believe him. But we're not there. And this is why I worry, because it leads to a wider debate and wider concerns from the public that is there something going on? Because it is a statement of fact that the China... I will give way.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. Does he agree with me that the most obvious point is that despite the government's disappointment, which we hear stressed by numerous ministers, including the Prime Minister himself, at the collapse of the trial, it's the shock that the government appears not to have done every single thing possible to have bolstered the case, to put the CPS in the best possible position to secure a prosecution. The two just do not add up.
Absolutely. Not only have they not done anything with the case, but also wider still the debates that could be brought forward, legislation that needs to change, other measures that could be put in front of the budget, for example.
I'm extremely grateful to my friend. It is true the government have repeatedly expressed disappointment, but in a sense, still more disturbingly, so than MI5. It is quite unusual for MI5 to intervene by means of a speech by its head, which made very clear that they were profoundly disappointed that this matter hadn't gone to court, because had it done so, it would be the culmination of years of work they'd done in trying to deal with Chinese espionage in Whitehall and Westminster.
He is absolutely spot on. It's because of this unprecedented fact that I would expect the Prime Minister to come forward and give those answers, not send the Minister in his place. But my worry is what the public... I wouldn't, because I've taken 2 interventions already. My worry is here is what the public perceive, because it is a statement of fact that the Chancellor went to China. And since then, we've had decisions made about Chagos, for example, British Steel and £1 billion, what's going on there, a spy case now dropped, the possibilities of a super embassy and even ID cards. Now, my constituents come to me and see a running theme. Yes, I'll take him.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. When I hear him speak, I do listen to what he's saying. I think he could be a very good replacement for the shadow minister on the front bench. The point I want to make here, though, is what is his view on the relationship of the UK to China? Ought we to engage, and under what terms? Or should we be economically decoupling? What is his view about the nature of the relationship?
I'd like to quote the quote we had from earlier, to walk and chew gum at the same time. It's easy to call China a threat but still engage. That's exactly what they do to us. They say we're embarrassed, we're upset, you were promised us something. And we just go, oh, I'm terribly sorry about that. Actually, we can stand up for ourselves, say what we think. We're in a trade deficit with them. Don't forget that. It's economically in their interest to be working with us as much as it is for us to be working with them. But my worry is that the public are joining dots. Now, the government will say there are no dots to be joined. But the longer this goes on and these more incidents that come out, it becomes harder to make that argument. Which brings us all full circle to where I started, because this is about transparency and releasing that documentation.